Good evening. Uh, Thanks for joining us for today. We're going to do a roundup of everything we know about these elections and what we can conclude out of that. Today, with me is Oz and Marcus. Hi, guys.
Hi, good
Hey
evening. Hey,
guys.
Amos.
I'm sure all of us have been like feverishly checking our feeds and looking at what was going on. And what's your guys' first impression of what's where we are?
Yeah, where are we? Look into my small eyes, in my tired small eyes. Well, what we're seeing here, I mean, at the beginning, if you were pro Biden or not, let me put it differently. If you were against Trump, if you wanted Trump to leave the office, then your only hope was that Biden would take it in a kind of landslide. So he didn't, and what the scenery is now is exactly what we feared to happen, and which was already told in advance by Trump weeks before what he would do, and this is the trouble we're in right now.
Yeah, and Oz, what do you think is our state?
I'm in a state of just waiting and see what happens here. It can go either way. They started assaulting the counting precincts today. We saw them stop the vote, but there were counter demonstrations there this time. I just hope they don't think they're going to get away with that Bush v. Gore crap this cycle. It isn't going to fly. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it looks like at least at this vantage point that there's more likelihood that Biden will get to 217 than Trump, based on what's the dynamics of what's going on. But what struck me in this whole thing was that the Bernie has been warning, and the Democrats have been asking for a pre-count of votes that were coming in as they were coming in, and Republicans have been opposed to that and struck it down. So this is the situation exactly in these states where we don't have yet the full count. Those are the ones where they were not allowed to count votes as they were coming in. And so that was backlogged to the end of the counting. And now that we have this situation, now Trump's coming and saying, this is taking too long, stop the count. You can't continue counting,
Yeah.
which is obviously really hypocritical.
Yeah, and if you look, well, even if the situation works for Biden, that he would become the president, whereas the Senate, he didn't win the Senate, so everything he has in mind to do would be boycotted. Mitch McConnell won his re-election. They will. Yeah, they will. It will be at least 2 years where the Republicans will do anything to prevent the Democrats achieve anything. So in this case, we would expect 2 years of nothing. Only executive orders by Biden. The same stuff as Trump did the last 4 years.
We have been in that game, and in this game, and that's exactly what happened during Obama's time, and it's kind of predictable. I really don't know what's. I mean, it's going to be kind of a lame administration. They can do executive orders. They can do certain things around the edges, but if they're going to be blocked on every corner, that's going to hurt them, especially if the economy tanks, which is expected because of the problems we've had so far, and where things are going. People are going to lose their homes and so forth. So I think that sets the stage for a midterm election that would take both houses away from Democrats, and then
Yes.
probably they will try to impeach Biden on some one or another reasoning.
At, at this time, it would already be Kamala Harris.
It is possible, but then they'll try to impeach her. There'll be some reason they will find. Yeah, all of these senators that we sought to unseat, that we find so distasteful, like Lindsey Graham and Susan Collins,
Nancy
they're
Pelosi.
all in. It's very frustrating. But to me, it's particularly frustrating. And I found this one thing that did make me laugh a little bit. There was a Twitter tweet on slide, I think it's slide 1 or one of the slides there. There's a Twitter feed. There we go. Can you read it?
Yes, from the guy who brought you, the reason there are so many cases is because we are doing too many tests. Comes the new hit single, I'm only losing because they're counting all the votes against me. Yeah.
And that's very much so. And let's again figure out what's going on is basically what Bernie, to the T, what Bernie predicted. If I have a little bit of a clip from the time that he warned everyone about what the dangers are of these elections. Let's see it.
Let us consider the following scenario, a scenario which I hope very much never takes place. On election night, Trump is ahead in many battleground states based on the votes of those who voted in person on election day. All across the television screens, people see Trump ahead before they turn in for the night. But as more and more mail-in ballots are counted, Trump's lead falls. Trump then announces, with no proof, that there has been massive mail-in ballot fraud and that these votes should not be counted, and that he has won the election. In other words, Trump may well announce that he has won the election before all of the votes are counted, and that large numbers of mail-in ballots should be discarded. Furthermore, in states where Republicans control the legislature, it is possible that the election results will be ignored because of false accusations of voter fraud, and that the legislature itself will use its power to appoint electors pledged to vote for Trump, overriding the will of the people. And in the midst of all of this, with the death of Justice Ginsburg, Trump is attempting to push through a Supreme Court justice who may very well cast a vote in a case that will determine the outcome of this election. He is doing that at a time when early voting has already begun and millions of ballots will have already been cast. In this unprecedented moment, what can we as a people do
I think that was
in the struggle to preserve
stop
American democracy? First, it is absolutely imperative.
So he was completely right. Democrats in general have not sounded the alarm bell like he has, and I think maybe they wish they had now when we're in this situation. And Trump is rallying on false news, rallying his supporters, saying that this is all a fraud and that the Democrats are the ones disenfranchising people, when it's exactly the opposite of what he's intending to do.
And if I look back at the situation now and beginning 4 years ago, I'm asking myself, how can America go on? How can the people in this country go on? You know, with this brutal device, you know, which is in everything seems to me is in flames right now. You know what America as a society concerns. You know, because I don't see any step forward. You know, that people could reach each other again, and this is another problem I see. Apart from what the parties do, what the Democrats and the Republicans do. Um, well, I have no answer to this. How do you feel this, Amos, in your
No, you're
country, the
exactly right. I
sentiments?
mean, it appears to me that even if we step back from the brink of the abyss with Biden, and he does manage to squeak a victory, and we stop Trump from completely demolishing whatever is left from our democracy and its institutions. The fact remains that there's other things that we're left to stay with, and that's one of the slides there with the enumerations. Uh, so the most disturbing thing is that half the population does not believe in the sanctity of democracy and the nature of our nation's democratic nature. So basically, that's perhaps the most disturbing thing, because Trump may come and go, but these people are here to stay, and
Yes.
they will continue to yearn for a strong person that will throw away the rules and do whatever they want. The second thing is that disinformation and conspiracy theories are here to stay as well. That's perhaps our biggest Achilles heel. The fact that in order to have this type of democracy, this thing is inevitable. What basically happened, in my opinion, is that first of all, the media, the mainstream media, has lost its trust with the public because they were basically selling their tone and their spin to the highest bidder, and as a result, people started looking to other sources. And ironically, it's that fact, the independent media, the democratization of the media, has also resulted in this wave of completely indefensible conspiracy theories. And I don't know what one can do about it. It's like a catch-22. If you try to dispel some of these things, then immediately you're involved. You have a stake in it, so you can't be trusted to make an opinion about some theory that's presented. And very few people check facts. I have to say, I'm also a little bit concerned with some of our own showrunners and commentators, that they at times fall prey to bringing up some conspiracy theories or some things that are unsubstantiated, and that's exactly what the Carter Center has been warning from doing, like to land media streams to things that have not been substantiated. So saying something like that the Democrats are cheating. There's currently no, even Fox News and even the Trump administration doesn't have any specific accusations about fraud. So to say that is like obviously with no backing, and I think we should try and stay clear of that.
Yeah, the problems I think is from the 3 points you listed there is those points are not interesting anymore because it's only about identity, and identity replaces every reason, every fact, every news, because everything is goes before is being checked before, is this hurting my ideology, is it hurting what we stand for, what we want, and and you don't reach the people with reasoning anymore, and That's a problem. If you cannot agree on facts, on science and facts, for example, then you don't have the fundament anymore to get into a discussion. If you're already starting to doubt the basics, then there is no discussion or communication possible.
That's correct. Yeah, but it's not just science. It's anything. It's
Yes.
really, yeah. And the fact is, like, everybody is basically overwhelmed. It's not that the people who believe in these things are necessarily stupid or whatever. It's just we're so overwhelmed with everything that's being thrown at us that at some point we can't handle getting to the depth of things, and we kind of grab whatever seems the most right and fits our preconceived notions. So that's it's a real problem that will be the 21st century most challenging aspect, in my opinion. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know. I think the one of the issues is that social networking companies have been accused of letting these things through, and when they come to things like white supremacy and stuff, yeah, these things are the social networks are being used for that. So the question is, should they stop it? They say no, we shouldn't, because we're just a platform, we're a hub of information, we're not content providers. And why would we our decision be acceptable to anyone if we decide that something is not appropriate? We don't have the standing, and people have pressed them on that. Especially, also progressives have pressed the social media companies to take these steps. The problem with that is then we're not happy with the fact that there's censorship coming from these companies, and
Exactly.
and that it's a crude mechanism. It's going to hurt in some respects. It's going to hurt us too, and I don't think this is a good solution. I think something along the line of crowdsourcing may be more appropriate for this, but we would have to rethink everything about how we present content or how we mark content or fact check it or whatever.
I can't. Here's where we, of course, can agree to disagree. Censorship of any kind is going to be the death of what democracy we have left. These social media companies make trillions and trillions of dollars. And my question is, actually, I think Auntie Anne had the question. Who are we say is going to be the arbiter of what's true and what's false? I mean, Amos, I have a question specifically. What were the 2016, in your opinion, were the 2016 and the 2020 primaries rigged by the Democrats?
They were in the 2016s. I think they were rigged. In the 2020s to 2021, I think they manipulated it.
Okay, manipulation and rigging to me are the same thing. So
Yeah,
you
Well,
know.
it's not exactly the same thing, because they didn't do anything that was illegal or you could say unethical. It was according to the rules, but it was kind of scummy. And that's how we ended up with Biden, because they made everybody else drop out of the race. And once they knew that Bernie was insurmountable one-on-one with any of the other candidates, so
I would only say
that was
that
kind of a dirty game. But they didn't do anything that was illegal or unethical.
I think absolutely it was unethical, and I'd be willing to have a debate with anybody on that, because the Democratic Party is supposed to be representative of their base, be fair and be honest. I mean, even in their charter, they were being unethical. So yeah, at some point I would really enjoy a debate on this. But last question on that: do you think there's such a thing as Russiagate?
The Russians were definitely involved in my opinion, in trying to help Trump get elected.
Okay, the core of Russiagate is that the Russians, in fact, swayed the outcome of the 2016 election. That has been debunked.
I don't see that it has been debunked, but we can have another debate on that.
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to bring Aaron Matei, and Max Blumenthal. Okay, we'll do that.
I would at this topic. I think first of all we can discuss if the both primaries were rigged or not. In the end, the Democratic Party won, and I would like to ask you, Amos, and maybe also in the background, the following question: the strategy, the campaign strategy of the Democratic Party. Do you think it was successful? Did they had another chance, maybe rooting for Bernie and getting maybe more votes out of it? What do you think, Amos? Was the strategy okay?
No, obviously not. But I don't know whether Bernie would have won or not. That's too difficult to tell. It's kind of like what if. I think he probably would have a better chance because he had a lot of energy behind him, a lot of motivation, and a lot of people who don't believe in the Democratic Party as a liberal institution would have liked some of the policies that came out of Bernie and would have probably been swayed by that. So I think he had a very good chance of winning, but again, I can't say for sure. What's clear is that the strategy that the Biden and Kamala campaign took, in which they pivoted to the right, the whole Lincoln Project and everything involved, obviously was a complete failure, and it's clearly displayed now that it was a failure, and we kept saying that as progressives, but of course that didn't change anything.
It was
for them.
It was the second general election in a row they did this. They did this in 2016.
Yeah.
They did it now in 2020. Well, I think if you fail two times with this strategy, there is not much discussion left about if it is right or wrong. You know, it is
But
definitely
will they-
wrong.
Mhm.
And the other question I would like to raise is, after this, independently if Biden gets the presidency or not, just from the results what we are seeing here, and we are seeing very, very many close results here in state we did not expect it, maybe. Is there a future for the Democratic Party in the condition as it is right now?
I don't know how they're going to salvage it. I think the Bernie-crats, Nina Turner yesterday said that there's no honeymoon, even if Biden wins, there's not going to be any honeymoon. In
Of course
that
not.
she meant basically we're going to give them trouble for the fact that they pivoted to the right and almost lost this, and we're going to demand that they change course. I don't know if they learned a lesson. They didn't learn the first time. Maybe they're incapable of learning it, and they will just lose the party.
In the end, we got the same figures again there. You know, we got Nancy Pelosi reelected. We got all those guys again in the boat. You know, and the only thing, if they lose the election, if Trump stays the president, this time they cannot come up with crap. You know, like the Bernie Bros or Russia or so. Because this narrative won't catch the people anymore. Because
Right.
this people know it's bullshit now, you know. And regarding the Russia question, if they interfered in the election, of course they did. The only question is, did it matter? What did it really influence those masses, you know, to stick to Trump or go to Biden or whatever? I doubt this, you know. And if you look
No, I
back
don't
at,
think-
and
Yeah,
if
I
you-
don't
sorry,
think it
and
was
if you-
about the masses. I think it was very directed. They worked very smartly with computer analysts that figured out.
I don't
locations.
think at this situation, you know, in the state of mind the American people are. We know that there were only a few who had to make up their minds who to vote for. You know, I don't think that this would have influenced a lot of people. What independently whoever tried to influence the election. And on the other hand, I'm pretty pissed off about the constant crying about possibly election interfering. If you look back at the history, you know, look for example at the state when Boris Yeltsin was up for re-election. This point he had no chance in hell to win the re-election. It was with the massive help of the CIA who got this term for Boris Yeltsin. So when it comes about election interfering, I think those guys should tone it down, because
Well,
there's enough
I don't
dirt.
think I don't think it's exactly on par in the interference with Russia. Yeah, they supported his campaign and pushed
Not
for it, but
supported, they finance it.
yeah,
They put a lot of money and a lot of pressure in it at
right.
that time.
But this is on a different scale when they actually worked back and forth with getting information from the Trump campaign, apparently, in order to establish what the best placement for their ads would be, and then going with that to sway uh, people's opinions with conspiracy theories. So, and the same thing seems to have been happening now in this up to this election, except nobody really took it seriously anymore with all the Hunter Biden and the tortured Chinese girls and the
Yeah,
laptops, and I mean they threw everything at it that they could imagine, and it just didn't stick. But yeah,
yeah, that's
that's tactics that that
exactly
were.
that's tactics,
And
uh,
I don't doubt that some people were influenced by that. And when you're talking about razor thin, uh, uh, razor thin differences or in numbers between the candidates, that it could definitely have an effect.
okay. I see a little bit differently because of what we know, that most Americans already knew they would be behind Biden or Trump, and only a minority were not sure who to vote for. So I don't think it has so much influence. But okay, there we different in our opinions.
One surprise.
Maybe Oz in the background has something to say to
No,
us.
I'm enjoying the hell out of the chat here. I think we're demonstrating here today that we are not a choir here, and that we definitely
No,
push
and this is
back within
good.
the house, which is good.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. The one thing that I did note was that something very interesting happened in this election, and that the segment of the population in which Trump actually lost people was white males. Everybody else he actually gained. So he gained African American support. He gained Spanish support. It's not explicable to me why and how that could be possible, knowing his positions and his policies. But that's the truth of what happened. So
And even in
how
the
you
black
could reconcile
community,
it.
and even in the black community, I read he rose compared to 2016 from 8 to 12% or so. And
Yeah.
it is yeah, we will. I think we will. It will take months until we get a clear view on what really happened. Who really voted for and why. Most importantly, it is strange. Some numbers are very different to what we saw in 2016. Just as you said, that white males were less than in 2016, for example. It was what was else. It was the younger ones mostly rooted for Biden, so the narrative would not fit that the Bernie Bros are to blame for this, because the young people went there, and by far they voted for Biden. Yeah, it is very strange to see, and well, and even with Kamala Harris, who is who often enough said that she's a black woman with black roots. It didn't fit to the black community. They didn't trust her. This is one thing we can clearly see from this, in my opinion.
Right. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. Obviously, even if he wins, we're gonna have an administration that's not going to be representing the needs
Yeah.
of the working poor and the struggling middle class, and a lot remains to be wished for. So I'm not very optimistic about it. But on the other hand, I think that now that if hopefully it will end up to be Biden in this case, and we can start our work on pushing him and giving him a little trouble.
And I see here in chat, Pat the Batman fan, this will be the last election we ever have. What a relief. Yeah.
Well,
What can-
I don't
what
think
can-
that's
what
going to be the last election. Hopefully not.
But it feels like this, for many people it feels like this, because if they look
Yeah.
in the future, yeah, I think we all are very worried.
Amos, can you give us some examples of when we've pushed some of the Democratic politicians to really do some change? Does anything come to mind?
Yes.
Go all the way back to.
course.
Go all the way back to. Let's start with. Let's start with Bill Clinton.
No. I'm not talking about Bill Clinton here. Bill Clinton obviously was a centrist, but and I don't think we had much of a progressive entity at that point. Now that situation is very different. People have kind of matured and understand the problems more clearly than ever. But what I can point is the fact that the mere change of the tone of the Democratic Party to appeal to progressives was due to the fact that Bernie Sanders ran. So he has definitely pushed things. He's very much influenced, or the task force has influenced the current policy in the platform that Biden put, that expanded on what he initially had as an ecological climate plan, and that has expanded much more after he's been involved with the task group. So whoever, I know there was a lot of skepticism about that partnership, but I think it did have some effect, and it's hard to look at it positively because it's a slow and very limited change, but nevertheless that's been our biggest change in the last decades or two in terms of progressive politics, and I think it can be sustained.
Well, let me see if I can make that out. So you're saying because of Bernie Sanders, you are hopeful, or you are pretty sure that Biden is going to work on climate change harder than he would have without Bernie Sanders. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I hope so. I can't tell you for sure, but that's at least the stated policy that he's put in the platform, which went up from what it originally was. But the issue is more that progressives, we beat ourselves up on like we can't do anything, and the Democratic Party is a dead end, and I can see that it's very frustrating. But on the other hand, the Democratic Party is nowhere where it was during Clinton's time. Just think of that. Like it's a different place. It's not. It's still the same people, the same conservative people are still at the leadership, but it's something's happening.
And they're just going further right all the time, though. That's not being productive, I believe. They're going. They
not, and
started
it's hurting them.
Yeah, it is hurting.
If they realize that, if they could only realize it, they would be saving themselves a lot of trouble in the future, because that's going to come back to bite them even worse than it has.
I'll say this I'll say this lastly. I don't think they give a shit. I think they're all working for one oligarch overlord in the country, and it's just toss the ball back and forth to the Republicans and enrich the wealthiest on the planet while they make us poorer and sicker and benefit from that. So I think the Democratic Party has burned their cred so bad in the last 2 election cycles that they are a corpse walking. And I wish there was some history that shows how pushing left on the Democrats, on the party itself, really yielded some fruit, because I can't think of anything. So Bernie comes in, runs, and they basically rig him out, in my opinion. And so he goes and sheepdogs for Joe Biden, and Biden barely beats this turd that's in the office when you would think a turd could beat the hell out of the guy. That doesn't bode well at all. So anyway.
No, yeah, naturally it doesn't. Yeah, it's. I don't know if they will learn the lessons again. I'm hoping they will, but if they don't, I think we have to work in parallel on creating an alternative
Yes.
party, like we discussed before. I think that's the time that it's gonna have to start happening. Maybe the working class, the working families party is a good vehicle for that. We shall see. I think this will happen because. Yeah, if Democrats do not learn the lessons and do not acknowledge that they have made a mistake, then that's gonna speed this process up.
I doubt this also because they will trying to play the blame game. They will find excuses why it didn't happen or why the results are not that good. But they won't reflect what they did wrong. So
You may be right.
In my view, the only chance is that anything maybe would change is a third party option, because as I said so many times before, you cannot ride a dead horse. It brings you nowhere, and you get the same figures on board again. And just as you said, I deeply doubt that anything will change.
Yeah. What are some of the thoughts from the chat? I've kind of tried to skim it, but I can't read as fast while we're in conversation.
Well, it really hopped up quite a bit. Annie Ann wants to know, Amos, what Democratic Party are you talking about? Made concessions to progressives? And she kind of, really? Yeah, Pat says an elephant in the room is extinction. Keith, let me see. Biden will allow us to have the discussion at least more than under Trump. Well, he'll allow us to have a discussion. Yeah, I agree. Maybe. Annie Ann is closer to the Republican Party than ever. Yeah, there's go back and read it. There's just a lot right there. So anyway.
Yeah, and it's really in their hands. If they want it, they could still, in my opinion, they could still get progressives back, because it's not as much of a resistant path as starting a new party and changing all the laws and rules that are meant to hamper a third party.
So did I hear you just say that they can still get the progressives back? Did I hear you right?
If they completely changed course, they could. It's really up to them.
Yeah, that would mean Medicare for all. That would mean actual work on climate change and getting out of the wars. Those three things for sure. That might win a couple more progressives back, but they don't trust them, and they never will, because they've been screwed so hard over the last 4 decades.
And it's understandable. Yeah, I share those concerns. But let's think of it in the practical perspective that if there was a new party, a third party that would have all the obstacles these other parties have been having, the Green Party or the Libertarians, it's not a system that's designed for anyone but the two main parties to run. So overcoming that barrier, I don't know if it's even possible. Maybe it's possible, but the rules have to be changed. And to change the rules, you have to influence. You have to have the power over the parties that are.
If you want to drain the swamp, don't ask the frogs. Almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. We're kind of in a bind there.
Interesting. I read today here in Germany, because here in Germany, I think every program was live here on TV, and they made a representative poll here in Germany, and the result was 81% would have voted for Biden, 4% would go to Trump. And you can imagine, considering those numbers, how the reaction was, especially here in Germany. The people could not understand what's going on in America. They just could not grab it. They got heated discussions here because the one thing, and this is the big difference, if you look at the charts, what are the most important things or the most important matters for Americans? It was not COVID, it was not Corona, it was the economy. The economy, and then criminality, and then it was the coronavirus. Otherwise, here in Germany, we cannot understand that the Americans would re-elect a president who actively caused so many deaths, and this is. We cannot in Germany. We cannot understand why Corona is only listed at number 3. Because every other thing in our perception is not that important at this moment than the virus.
And the ecology or the climate change has not even appeared on any list.
No.
You can't find it yet. You go down the list of all the priorities, and it's not even there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People are.
And if we're going back to the point of the discussion about Bernie, would have Bernie done better, And if you look at this, he was also promoting, to stay safe, to be safe against the virus, etc. He was promoting all this stuff, and also he's standing for the Green New Deal. And if you're presenting this program to constituents, to the people who are absolutely not interested in those topics, what are you doing then? You can have the best in mind to do, but if you don't find somebody who resonates to this, then it's difficult. So I'm not sure, as I said a couple of days ago, I'm not sure at this point, after the experience of 4 years of Trump, whether the American people were ready for the other experiment with Bernie. I don't know. I just don't know. I cannot estimate how the millions of independents or non-voters would have reacted to this. I don't know.
It's we as the saying goes, we'll have to try, and we may die trying. But I think it's at the point where it's not even an option. We have to change this country in directions that are more humane, that are more social, and we have serious work to do. And we may find that it's impossible. Maybe it's going to boomerang and hit us even worse. But I don't know how you can get worse than Trump. So I think at this point, I'm willing to try just about anything.
I think direct actions is where it's going now. Even if Biden happens to squeak through, he brought no policy. It was like, I think some of our friends in social media, he brought no mask, and I'm not Trump. And with the added thing is, if Medicare for All came across my table, I wouldn't sign it, and I will not stop fracking. I mean, there's just no way. So we really need to get through this. I'm beyond this election, whatever. I don't want to see Trump in there. But Biden, I'm going to double down and triple down on the Democratic Party as far as pressuring them. But the direct actions are what's going to make a difference in this country. Melissa's making some great comments. So is Auntie Ann here about, we need to stop ignoring the fact that we are going down the pike so quickly, and the clock is ticking with this climate change, and we can't wait till 2045 for Biden's plan to go. And I read Biden's plan, and it's nothing. So again, I appreciate the discussion.
I wouldn't say it's nothing, but it's short of getting there. And my only hope is that he is replaced midterm, and that at least I think that. Kamala's belief in the Green New Deal is genuine. She was one of the first people to sign it, and I think that's the chance of that getting into effect. But who knows?
Yeah, I think we should go down that. We should have a show and go down Biden's plan and what Kamala Harris supports and history and stuff, because that will expose a lot. But do you really think 2045 is a good target?
No, I don't. But again, like I did a comparison of the two plans in one of our no jokes shows, the recent shows, and the plans are not categorically different. They're differences in scope, but essentially it's the same plan. I think starting to move in the right direction massively is what's important, and then we may have to do a course correction, but at least we will not be that far off behind that we won't be able to have any chance of correcting.
Yeah,
that's my hope.
Yeah, credits to your hope, and that you're looking for a pragmatic way to come out of it, but.
What other options?
Yes, yeah, but then the time window is faster closing, and it's going faster and faster, and it is the whole situation is completely desperate. We have no time to wait. On the other hand, we know we don't expect anything from the Republicans, and putting the money on the Democrats to fulfill the plan they have in their drawers, which with the if you look at the Senate, if they don't get the majority in the Senate,
that's a problem.
You can throw it in. You can it's nothing will happen, and I have no advice. I'm sitting here. I'm absolutely clueless, as most of us are, and trying to deal with the situation. Wow.
Yeah, and there's no this situation has no precedence as far as we know in human history, and we may disappear just like the people on Easter Island.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But at least let's fight it. Let's have
Yeah, we cannot go
the best
down
of it
without fighting. That's right.
God, if we go by the way of Easter Island, I hope when they put the monolith of me up there, they add hair. I need some damn hair, at least that. So, and that's where my nickname's derived from. Oz, that's from the poem by Shelley, Ozymandias, about the fall of Ramses II. Going from such a huge empire into just dust, and that's where we're going. So check out Ozymandias. I mean, it's pretty common, but that's why I modeled it, and I modeled my nickname because that's what I saw happening to our world in the '90s. So unfortunately, I think I was right.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Were any other last thoughts?
No
Marcos,
thoughts at all, man.
No,
this was a lively discussion for sure.
We can discuss it over and over for hours and days and weeks. I don't think we get to a conclusion what to do right now. We gotta I'm sitting here helpless.
I think we're on the same page as to what needs to happen. We may not be on the same page necessarily as how to get there, but
yes.
Yeah. But nobody has the answers because we don't know the future.
Yes. Yeah. And what do you think? I want to raise this question. What do you think if Trump stays in office? What would this mean globally? Because if you see that, especially in the Western countries, everything or many things which are coming up first in America, are getting exported with a little delay to other countries. What do you think would makes 8 years of Trump out of the globe, out of our all fate?
I'm very pessimistic. If he manages somehow to stay in office, I think that may be the last actual election we've had. And one other thing that I wanted to comment, because I hear people refer to our election as corrupt and whatever. I think what needs to be distinguished is that there's primaries and there's general elections. We have a very good general election system. It's pretty secure. It's not being compromised in any significant way, and it's impressive that they are managing to do so, because it's a patchwork of solutions that is local. Every place has different systems, and everything may have that. In a way, that's a strength, and it's also a weakness, because it's difficult to explain how those systems are all secure independently. But I think that the system works. The primaries has a significant problem because there's not the same type of scrutiny and checks as there is with a general election. But I think it's important to make that distinction and not fall to the tendency to throw the hands up in the air and say our elections are not working. I think they are.
I think they're absolutely not working. A site today, they tried to perform an audit down in California, and they were unable to do so. So that's of the voting machines, and that was an audit that candidates themselves wanted to go look, and they wouldn't let them check it. So that's a problem, and that might be what you're referring to as part of the problem. I don't trust our election system at all, and I would definitely like to have somebody come in, a third party from another country, audit our own damn elections. So when we have, yeah.
Well, there are third parties, and there are mixed parties where there's like every step of the way, everything that has to be done has to have people from both parties and an independent. So, in a way, it is what you're saying. So, yeah, I hope that in one of the future shows we'll have somebody who's going to discuss that issue, all the stuff about elections. But I think on the whole, it's not what a lot of people imagine. It's not such a broken system as what you imagine, because they have done investigations in the past. They have not found fraud in any significant way. I think it was a fraction of a percent. So,
no, I would challenge that all day long. And can I say Diebold? And I'll just leave it at that. But no, that would be another one. But our system is definitely broken, either through ethics or through values or money. So I'm going to push back. That's my job.
I don't disagree that money is an issue. Yeah.
And for me as a German, it is hard for me to follow you, Amos, in this case. I think the electoral system in America is absolutely bullshit.
Oh yeah, we don't disagree on the electoral system. I'm just talking about the mechanism.
Okay, the mechanism. Okay, then I got it wrong. Okay.
Yeah, Melissa would like to point out that Americans should not have to stand in line for 4 to 10 hours. So that's another way of rigging an election.
Yeah, I agree with that, but again, that's some form of fraud, if you like, but I'm talking about the actual mechanism, like what you put in is what you get out, and I don't think there's that type of fraud or rigging. So just wanted to say that. All right. Well, next week we'll have a discussion about the second point that we mentioned here, which is the disinformation, conspiracy theories, and how we actually deal with that, because it's a huge dilemma, and nobody really has, or we haven't heard a lot of good solutions about that. So we'll be discussing that, and I hope you guys will join. If you like, please share our content, and don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, subscribe with the bell, and you are always welcome to support our station. Oz is going to be happy if you do.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to go out today. And again, thank you, Marcus. It's great. And I love being able to stay behind the curtain. So I appreciate the show, the content, and everybody in the chat. Keith Hayes, Annie Ann, Sirius, Cheese Man. Let me run through this. Keith Hayes. Let's see who else we have in here. If I miss somebody, I apologize.
And Melissa.
Melissa, of course, absolutely. Pat, the Batman fan. You were talking today there, Pat. And let me see. We got, let's see. I felt, like I said, if I miss anybody, I think we covered everybody pretty much. If you're not, I apologize because we love all you guys. Thanks again, Marcus and Amos.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thanks for
see
tuning in.
See you on No Joke Saturday, gentlemen.
Yes.
All right. And we have the Healthcare Forum tomorrow night with Amber King, Our Revolution at 7 p.m. Pacific. Have a great evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night. Bye-bye.